Please don't ignore me like all the other people do. Stop and talk with me for a while, if you will. I promise you that you'll be amazed by what you hear. Oh, don't let my appearance fool you. To say I was just a little old lady and her dog would be very far from the truth. We are detectives, supernatural detectives. Langley and Hound Paranormal Investigations, ghosts, ghouls, zombies, demons and vampires. We've battled them all. Oh yes, it's all true. They really do exist. Our latest case was most interesting. I call it the case of the Phantom Photographer.
The Unpublishables Repertory Company presents a Langley and Hound Investigation, The Phantom Photographer, written and dramatised for radio by I.B. Rubish, starring Leslie Atherton as paranormal investigator, an all-round busybody, Edith Langley, and Freya Hollingdale as the neighbour's dog, Charlie Hound. As you can imagine, Edith, the Reverend was quite shocked to see the photograph once it had been developed.
Oh, indeed I can, Jonathan. Do you think people will believe that it's real?
Well, that's what I'm here for. My editor wants me to run a feature on the photograph. He wants me to see if I can prove that it's an authentic ghost photo. Well, there's no one I know better skilled to answer that kind of question than you, so here I am.
Oh, I must say you flatter me, and yes, of course, I'll do some investigating for you. Just so long as the vicar doesn't mind me bringing Charlie along.
Oh, I doubt he'll mind. Besides, where is Charlie?
I think that's him now.
Hello, ducks. Who's the creep? Oh, I see. Been showing you dirty photos, has he? Which set were you going to buy? Night in the harem or girls' prep school after lights out?
Jonathan is a reporter from the local paper. He's asked us to investigate these photographs. They were taken in the church just off the High Street, St Michael's. If you look, you can see a ghost in them. Isn't that marvellous? A photograph of an actual ghost. Imagine that.
Let's see. Taken in the local church, you say? Well, if you believe that they're not the only thing that's been taken in. Honestly, Edith, the only thing missing from this cartoon is the caption saying boo.
He's had a good sniff, Edith. What does he think?
Oh, I couldn't say. It's not as though he talks to me or anything.
Let me tell him then. It's a load of crap, mate. You're as daft as this boozy old bat sat opposite you.
Well, I think he likes it. Look, he's wagging his tail.
Don't let that fool you, pal. Just wafting the fart around, mate. That's all I'm doing.
Oh, dear, I think someone's just popped off. Still, I better be going now. It's okay to leave this with you then, Edith.
What, the smutty pics or the fart?
Yes, of course, Jonathan. Thank you for bringing this to me. I'll be in touch just as soon as I've something to tell. Really, Charlie, you're quite disgusting. Why do you always have to do that when I have someone around?
What are you moaning about? Helped get rid of that creep. Speaking of which, you'll be pulling another weirdo out of the drawer to help you with that photo, no doubt.
As it happens, yes, we will be seeing a good friend of mine. He's something of a tech expert, and I want you on your best behaviour. Actually, I think I'd better leave you behind.
Good to see you, Edith. Thank you for sending me that photograph. It was quite interesting. Rather tricky, really, but I still saw through it.
Oh, so you think it's a fake, then?
I'd have been highly surprised if it was an original. I've seen lots of funny photos, and this was one of the best, but there were a few points that led it down.
Oh, that is disappointing. So what gave it away?
Not much, if I'm honest, Edith. My first suspicion was alerted by the fact that it was an analog photograph and not digital. Digital's easier to manipulate, but analog is harder to detect, especially if you don't have access to the negative. That told me that the photographer was trying to hide something, so I looked at the proportions of the ghost. If you measure the height of the church's altar against that of the ghost, you can estimate the height of the original figure. In this case, the figure stands nearly 9 feet tall.
Goodness, is that possible?
Not impossible, but highly unlikely. It suggested to me that the ghost was superimposed upon the original image, but that couldn't be so because there was no evidence of cutting around the ghost or double exposure, the layering of one negative on top of the other. If it didn't have that characteristic thickening of the image you get with layering, so I had to take a closer look.
Oh, well, this is almost as exciting as if it had been real. So what gave it away in the end?
This line here, see? That faint shaft of light going diagonally across the picture.
Oh, yes. You know, it could be the spirit's aura. People do say that ghosts are like a projection of sorts. Spectral energy, if you like. A kind of supernatural light bulb, some say.
I sincerely doubt that that can be true. Besides, photographs capture the light reflected off the objects most of the time. When they capture an object that emits its own light, the effect is to dazzle the camera and cause the image to be overexposed or blurred.
Oh, so what's the significance of the shaft of light in this picture then?
If you notice, it travels in an opposite direction to the rest of the light within the room. It got me thinking as to why that should have happened. It foxed me for a while, but I got it in the end. The clue was in the disproportionate height of the ghost. It's clearly someone dressed in a monk's habit with a sheet over its head. So, why the distortion? Well, it's because he's been superimposed in front of the camera, and not over a negative. I can tell that's the case due to the shaft of light travelling in the wrong direction. I magnified and analysed it, and I could see that it was the light that had become trapped and then reflected from within a slight scratch. The image of the ghost that had been placed on a glass sheet and then held in front of the camera, but they hadn't calculated the dimensions of the room, and so the ghost is too large because the image was held too close to the camera. Sorry if I've disappointed you.
Just a little, Baz, but as much as I want to believe these things to be true, I have to be objective in my investigations. I do feel sorry for the vicar, though. He did seem most excited about the photograph when I spoke to him on the telephone. Well, thank you for your time. Guess I'd better go and call him again and tell him what you've discovered.
So what did your geek have to say, Edith, about them dirty postcards of yours?
He agreed with you, Charlie. He said that they're fakes, which is what I need to tell the vicar.
Oh, he'll be upset. I think he was banging on them to help boost his congregation.
If you insist on being disrespectful, I shall leave you here.
Oh no, I want to come along. I don't want to miss a chance to see reason triumphing over superstition. Besides, Mrs. Vicar always slips me a few sneaky biscuits whenever we call.
You'll get fat, you will.
Here, come on, ducks. Enough of the body shaming. Let's get over to the vicar's place. I've got a good-sized poo waiting for his front lawn.
Don't you dare, my boy. I doubt they've forgotten what you did to that cushion.
Here, you can't prove that was me.
It had your hair on it.
It had the vicar's hair on it too. Perhaps he was the one.
Very much doubt it, Charlie. Now, if you need a poo, do it in the garden before we leave. And once we get there, make sure you behave.
OK, ducks, let's go and see what the Reverend Knobknees thinks of our findings. Be interesting to see how he can twist it round and put some holy spin on it.
It's Knoblees, but I share your point. I'm quite interested to see his response. Come on then, let's go and see the vicar.
Well, Edith, I must say that I am a little disappointed, but I guess that is only to be expected. The church isn't all that old, and there is no recorded history of any previous sightings or the site having been used by a monastic order. To have captured the image of a ghostly monk, therefore, was always a bit far-fetched. Still, when confronted by a mystery, it's always best to engage in a thorough investigation in order to find the truth. Obviously, one always lives in hope of finding evidence of the supernatural. One never knows when the unusual will prove to be an actual sign of God's great work. But in the face of such evidence as you have presented, I must concede that it was a fraud.
Well, better luck next time, Vic. Perhaps you'll get lucky at breakfast and see Jesus in your toast.
Yes, it's disappointing, but we have to face facts.
Indeed, that is true. I'm guessing that our next act is to confront the fraudsters, yes?
Actually, no. Only if they try fooling someone else should we expose them, I think. We don't want to give them any more attention than they deserve. They treated you with contempt. So we will mete out the best punishment we can give, and that's to ignore them. Let them disappear into obscurity.
So there's really nothing for us to do then?
No, not really, George. It's a matter of case closed. One thing I would like to do on a personal level, if you do not mind, I'd like to pass through the church on our way out and light a candle for my husband.
Candle, Edith? When did you ever go into a church to light a candle? Come on, what's the real reason we're in this freezing cold barn?
I just wanted to have a look around, get a feel for the place. I'm interested to know the psychology of the pranksters, what motivated them, that sort of thing.
Edith, lying is a sin at the best of times, but in God's house... Come on, the real reason you wanted to look around was in hope it was still real.
Well, maybe it is.
On the basis of what?
I just thought it was worth a snoop. You never know, we might have sniffed something out.
Ah, I get it. By we, you actually meant me. So you dragged me in here in the hope your psychic sidekick would sniff out some ectoplasm for you, eh? Well, I've got news for you, ducks. I'm not psychic, I'm a dog. Occasionally, I might sense the odd presence. But that's no proof of the supernatural. It's probably more than likely magnetic vibrations, atmospheric changes, or plain good old-fashioned hormones.
From an ordinary dog, Charlie, I believe that. But you're a talking dog. Doesn't that signal something more than the ordinary to you? Does me.
We don't know that I'm a talking dog, Edith. I could be a mere fragment of your drunken, senile imagination for all we know. Now, I'm starved, so let's get out of this dump and...
What is it, Charlie? You smell something?
I don't know, ducks. Something odd.
Supernatural?
No, not necessarily. Just unexpected.
So it could be supernatural?
Only as the last possible outcome, Edith. All more credible conclusions have to be ruled out first. Only then can we stick our loony boots on and have a wade through the silly swamp.
Why are you so reluctant to accept the possibility of the supernatural?
Why are you so keen for it to be supernatural?
I asked my question first.
Look, if the supernatural does exist, it's still a pretty slim chance, even more unlikely than aliens. So, we've got to be rational and consider all other possibilities first. We owe that to our clients and our professional reputation. If people want a diagnosis of piano fairies, let them go to some hockey medium, not us.
You'll never let the piano fairies go, will you? Oh, I have to admit, though, there's a lot of sense in all that you say. You know me, I have to find the reason and purpose in all things. And a talking dog without a supernatural connection just doesn't make sense to me.
I can understand that, but consider this. Have you ever seen my lips move? If not, then why not?
Now that you mention it, no, I've never seen your lips move. Perhaps it's telepathy. Yes, it's telepathic. Oh, that must mean I have the gift after all. I am a psychic, I really am. I have it, I really do.
Or it's just the rational side of your unconscious psyche vainly fighting to maintain its sanity by projecting itself into me and help to keep at least one of your twinkle toes on the ground. Anyway, enough of this theorising. Let's get home and have some dinner. I'm starved.
Didn't the vicar's wife feed you then?
No, the daft old bat forgot to get any biscuits in. Some Christian, too tight to get a packet of bickies for an adorable dog like me. This wouldn't have happened at the Gurdwara. Do some good nosh there, they do. Them Sikhs know how to treat a guest.
And some guests know how to behave. Don't think I didn't notice when you strayed into their vegetable plot.
I can tell you no gardener. Besides, they'll be thanking me come this time next year. It's the only surefire way of getting good rhubarb.
Thank you for inviting me over, Jean. I've been so looking forward to seeing the wedding photos. I'm just sorry that I was unable to make it.
Oh, not to worry, Tracy. I know it couldn't be helped. It went well, thankfully, even when that fool woman had a tizzy. She said she'd seen something odd.
Oh, who was that?
Oh, that stupid friend of Mum's, you know, the fat one with glasses. Still, never mind, it only caused a moment's distraction. Anyway, just to make up for you not being able to be there, I'm allowing you to be the first to see the photos. I've not even looked at them myself.
Gosh, I'm honoured. Where was the ceremony held again?
St Michael's.
Oh, isn't that the one that's haunted? You know, where they took the photograph of that ghost?
No, it was a fake. I saw the report in the local paper. It was a very clever trick, but it didn't fool them for very long. Some sort of double exposure, the reporter said.
OK then, let's have a look at the pictures. Oh, they're lovely, Jean. You look so beautiful. Not to mention Terry. Didn't he look smart in his shirt and tie? Who'd have thought he'd ever wear a suit?
I know, weird, isn't it?
Ooh, what's that? Ugh, looks like some sort of blurred shadow.
Where, Tracy? Oh, let me see. Oh, yes, gosh. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, how did that get there? I never saw him on the day. I certainly didn't invite him. Who do you think it could be?
Perhaps he just floated in. Look, he doesn't have any legs. The image just fades away somewhere below the knees. Oh, crumbs, Jean, I think it's the ghost.
Well, you can see from the photograph, Father, that there's something in the picture. My friend and I thought it was the ghost, and so I came here to show you.
I must confess that I am confused. The people who investigated the original photograph concluded quite without any doubt that the ghost was a fake. Their evidence was quite compelling, and I freely accepted their findings. But now I'm not so sure. May I keep this photograph so that I may show it to them? I will return it, of course.
No, you keep it, Father. It gives me the creeps.
Very well. When they are done, I will perform a blessing over it and then destroy the photograph. In the meantime, I better telephone my friend Edith.
I have to confess, Edith, that this new photograph does open things up again, but I wouldn't be too quick to change our initial conclusion just yet. This could be a second attempt by the fraudsters to make a name for themselves. They aren't always so quick to give up, you know. Having invested a lot of time and effort into a fraud, they could have been unwilling to let it go so soon. The first thing is to check the provenance of the second photograph and see if we can establish any material links to the original hoax. To that end, Edith, I hope you have the answers to the questions I gave you over the telephone.
Yes, I do, and based on what you've just said, I think you might be more than a little surprised, if not perplexed.
Okay, Edith, I'm listening.
Well, starting with the wedding party, first, none of them appear to have a connection to our pranksters. Certainly our guilty friends have been nowhere near the church since they were exposed, so they couldn't have been there on the day of the wedding, before, during or afterwards. The professional photographer who took the pictures also seems to have had no contact with or connection to the hoax, or its authors. In every respect, the second photograph looks to be an original, untainted image. I really do think that we have a ghost this time.
I'd hang fire on that one. The figure in the photograph looks very much like the fake. Too much like the fake, in fact. I'd still be inclined to smell a rat here. Perhaps it's something within the church, some remote trigger or device.
Or it could just be a ghost.
I'm very far from being convinced, Edith. I think that I'll have to have a look around the church myself. Do you think that can be arranged?
Oh, I know the vicar well. Leave it with me, Baz.
Okay, I'll leave it with you, Edith. When I've taken a few shots, I'll get back in touch and we can meet again and see what's turned up.
So, what have you got, Baz? Did you capture anything of interest?
In all honesty, Edith, no, I did not find anything. I went around the church for an hour and took nearly 50 photographs, but nothing. And yet, from your expression, I don't sense any real disappointment. That leads me to the question, what have you got?
Well, as it happens, I do have something. Look at this wedding photograph here. It was taken in the church. Now, see who turned up.
Let's see. Oh yes, our celestial monk, no doubt. You're convinced that it is real?
What convinces you that it isn't real? I checked the background of the photographer and the subjects in this new photograph. They have no connection to the fraudsters or those involved in the earlier wedding photograph. It's wholly independent, and yet the ghost has still appeared. For what purpose, you might ask? To make himself known, that's the answer.
Well, if he's so real, why has he avoided me so well? Why is it he only turns up here and there?
Apart from the scary face, I'd have thought it was obvious. He's a phantom wedding crasher. You should have got old Miss Faversham here to put a wedding dress on and lured him out. Bet he would have turned up then.
Ah, but that's it, Baz. I knew you would say that, and looked to see what the common denominator was, and I found it. The one element of consistency is time. Both photographs were taken between 2 and 3 p.m. When did you go to the church?
10 a.m. So, are you suggesting I go back in the afternoon then?
Yeah, that's where I was ahead of you. Again, where I'd found the link. I went there myself and took some pictures. Now look what I got.
Let me see. A phantom, no doubt.
Take a look.
Oh yes, there he is. Very punctual, isn't he?
You still don't seem convinced or impressed.
That's because he's got a brain, Edith. Come on, keep your eyes open. It might still be a con.
No, you're right, Edith. I'm not impressed.
What would impress you then?
Well, if I could get a photo of it myself, that would help. At least then I would know that neither the camera nor the image had been tampered with. Only when I'm presented with an absolutely undoctored image with cast iron provenance can I even begin to consider.
I like this boy. He's a geek, true, but he's still got half a head on him. Listen to him, Dux. He might just help you avoid making a fool of yourself.
In that case, we better get to the church then. How are you doing, Baz? You've been at it nearly an hour now.
There's nothing to report so far, Edith. At least I've had nothing off the digital camera. There's still a chance that the analog might have captured something. Hello, what have we got here then? Looks as though our phantom has finally decided to make his appearance. Let's see if he'll visit us again.
Oh my word, this is so exciting. Oh, I can feel his presence. He's here, Charlie. He's really here. What do your doggy senses tell you?
Nothing, Dux. He's pulling a complete blank with me. All I'm getting is this annoying sort of buzzing sound, like you sometimes get from batteries when they're charging. I heard it when we were here before. The problem is this holy-moly chamber's too damned echoey. I can't get a fix on it. How's old Bazzy doing?
Any more luck, Baz?
No, it would seem as though he only stands next to the altar. I don't get a thing until I'm stood on this spot here, which seems odd.
Not all spirits are said to move around, Baz. Most only repeat a circuit of moves, but many more merely appear and disappear and are fixed in the same spot. The majority would seem to be of this latter type, as though they are trapped in a single moment in time. It helps explain why they only appear within a limited time frame, too.
Speaking of triggers, this church has been here for over 140 years. How come he's only just decided to turn up now?
It could be due to the removal or arrival of an object or person, or some sort of summoning stimuli. Oh, I curse myself for having forgotten my glasses. I so wish I could see him on your camera. Shall we tell the vicar we found his ghost?
Oh, let's hang fire on that one, Edith. I want to develop the analog film first, examine that. I have an idea, but I want to be certain before I can share it with anyone.
Very well, Baz. When will you have the film developed?
I'll have the photos for you by this evening, Edith. I'll come over to your place and we can take a look at them there. So, as you can see, Edith, the irregularity only appears in the photographs taken in front of the altar. This happens with both types of camera, so it cannot have been a fault with the film or the individual camera. It has to have been from an outside source. Now, I want to expose this as a fake, so I have no interest in tampering with either the film or the cameras. So the question I have to ask, therefore, is how did this happen?
Well, seeing as though you have no scientific answer, could it not just be the supernatural?
I might not have an absolute answer. That doesn't mean I'm without any ideas or suspicions. I just want to go back to the church again and check something out first. I need you to come with me and make sure you bring your glasses this time. I'll call you in a day or two.
A day or two, Baz, but why wait?
I read online that a few of the guests at both weddings have said that they thought they saw something. I want to do a bit of investigating, ask them a few questions, you might like to do the same. I have a list of names.
Do it, Ducks. It'll pay to be thorough. I can give 'em a sniff and see if they're lying for you.
Yes, I guess you're right. I mustn't let my natural enthusiasm carry me away.
Good stuff. I mean, it'd be great if it was true, but we've got to be right about this or we risk making a fool of ourselves. And people are slow to forget that in this game, it only takes one mistake and all I've worked for will count for nothing. People will always laugh at me. My work will have been wasted and the kooks, frauds and shysters will have won another victory.
I never knew you felt so strongly about it, Baz. I thought your research into the paranormal was something of a hobby.
It used to be, but when I started to see how all the fakes and phonies use the tricks to rip people off, it started to get serious. They've often tried to discredit me in order to strengthen their own claims. At that point it got personal. So yes, I do feel strongly about it because I feel that it matters on so many different levels. If this is a fraud, I want to expose it and stop it.
But how can that be so, Vicar? It's been photographed so often by so many different people. It must be true. I've been looking into this, and it's not just the photographic evidence that I've found. Some of the guests at both of the weddings where the ghost appears stated that they thought they'd seen something. How do you explain that?
A deception can be repeated 1,000 times, but that doesn't make it any more real.
Yeah, take the Bible for example still. The coloured cook's got a point though, Edith. This could still be nothing but a spook. After all, you know how unreliable eyewitnesses can be, especially these ones. Did you notice that they all wore glasses? You can't say their eyes are the best or the most reliable.
I guess I'll always remain hopelessly optimistic that it's real, but you're both right. I should keep an objective mind.
Both of you, Edith. But there's only me.
Oh, yeah, I meant to say, our tech expert, Baz, will be joining us shortly. He's very much of your frame of mind.
Well dodged, Ducks. Now he thinks you're only half as mad.
Oh, I think that's him now. Hello, Baz. We're over by the altar.
Hello, Edith. Hello, Reverend. Anything new to mention before we get started?
Oh, we've been looking for any sort of antique newly added to the church that might have acted as a conduit.
Nothing old, you say. So, what's new then? What's here that you haven't seen or noticed before that doesn't belong to the fabric of the church?
Well, of course, I can have a look. Am I looking for anything in particular?
Just something unexpected, that's all. Anything you don't recognize or that's in the wrong location.
Certainly, I'll take a look. Let me see. But I really don't think there's anything... Oh, hello, there. Look up by the window behind the altar. There's a small black object.
Good. That's just what I was hoping for. Okay, Edith. Have you got your glasses this time?
Yes, shall I put them on?
Yes. And when you do, look towards the altar and tell me what you see.
Well, I only really need them for reading, but... Oh, there's a tiny dot. A glimmer. Coming from behind the altar. Oh, how exciting! It's an orb, really, how thrilling. I've seen my first orb.
Blimey, Ducks. The geek's trying to help you avoid making a fool of yourself. Don't stuff it up for him. Just watch what he says before you open your gob again.
Can you see it now?
No, it's gone.
And now, Edith.
Yes, it's back again. Oh, my word, it's the phantom. I can actually see the phantom. It's a bit blurry and indistinct, but he's there. He's actually appeared. Can you see him?
And now?
Oh, no, it's gone again. What's causing it to come and go like that?
Well, every time I put my hand over the object the vicar saw in the window above the altar, the orb disappears.
Oh, so what does that mean?
Our phantom is a projection. The small object in the corner of the window is like an electronic pointer, except this one has the image of the ghost over its lens. When that hits a glass object, the image is replicated. The image is not clear enough for you to see with the naked eye, but refracted through a lens, it's just possible. Bang, you have your ghost. Quite clever, I'll admit, but not clever enough.
Well, that's another case done with, eh? Edith? Here, what's up, Ducks? You seem a bit down in the mouth. This should be a moment of celebration.
I'm glad we solved the mystery, but I have to admit that I'm disappointed that it wasn't real.
Yeah, but it was a challenge. Kudos to us having solved it. It was that electronic buzzing noise that made me smell a rat.
Yes, what was that?
The microprojector the fraudsters used to produce the image of the ghost was solar-powered. They poked a small hole in the stained glass window, which had a small cable leading to the miniature solar panel. That's why the ghost only appeared in the afternoon, as it needed the morning to charge itself. That was the buzzing noise. It was the batteries recharging. Quite clever, really.
Yes, it was. I'm just a little disappointed that it wasn't real, that's all. I was so convinced that it was evidence of the supernatural. I so wanted it to be real.
Why are you so desperate for it to be real?
I just wanted some sort of assurance that my dear husband is still there, somewhere.
Over the rainbow.
Oh, do shut up.
Anything you say, Ducks. Got any more biscuits?
Don't they feed you next door?
Ugh, couldn't call that muck food. Now, come on, stop being so stingy and dish out the grub.
So this is the church they took the ghost photos in then? Weren't they all fake though?
Yeah, that's what the newspaper said, but I reckon that was a cover-up. Come on, get your phone out and start taking pictures. If we snap the ghost, we can make a fortune. You got anything yet?
No, of course not. Now hold on. What's this in the picture? By the font. Bloody hell. It's the ghost.